All right, everybody, we got a really cool case unboxing to you. Coming to you from Crave. Now, I have worked with them in the past, and they do have some really awesome and protective cases. They were nice enough to send me over two, one in black and one in forest green. So one of these cases will be going to you guys. All you have to do is like the video, comment your favorite color of the two, and then make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So these cases are really awesome. I've loved working with these guys in the past, and I'm excited to show you guys how protective and strong these cases are. So thank you so much to Crave for sending these over. Now let's get into the unboxing. All right, so they sent over two forest green and in black because I have a orange iPhone. We're gonna go with black, but we're gonna go ahead and unbox both of them so you guys can see each of the different colors. So the top just comes out right there, and that pulls out, and then you get a little bit of styrofoam in there. So here is the case itself. Now, it doesn't have camera control or anything like that, but it is super protective. And then this inner lining does come out, so it makes it a little bit easier to get the phone case on and off of your phone. So here is the forest green. Now this is more of like an aquamarine blue, and this is kind of green. You can hear the texture on the back. Feels really nice, very grippy, really good there. But in terms of a forest green, not really sure. I would call it more of an aquamarine green if I had to pick, but forest green it is. Let's go ahead and open up the black one. Same exact unboxing experience. Kind of hard to get that open. And get the styrofoam out of there. And here is the black. So that is a true black. You do get the protection there on the back side. And then looking through the inside, you do get some corner protection in each of the corners for all that good military grade protection there, and then fully inlaid buttons, which is really nice. Big fan of that, and on this side as well. But again, no camera control. And then just take a look at the bottom here. You do have a full cutout for the speakers, so kudos to Crave for that. A big fan there, and a really nice and big USB-C port on the bottom for any of your charging needs. And then looking at the camera control, or looking at the camera plateau, you do get some of that plastic coming on the inside, so some more protection. So it's kind of like double walled, if you'd say. So if it does land on that, you're gonna get some good protection there, but no over covering protection. And then on the back, you just get their Crave logo right there at the bottom. Now this back is kind of like a textured feel, and it does add a lot of nice grip, and it does kind of go around all of the sides and then around the buttons. So pretty nice design there. And then obviously on the back, you don't get any suede or anything. This is a hard plastic, but a little bit of design there. Not really sure if that's meant for any type of protection, but if you're worried about scratching your phone by getting something on the back side and scratching that paint, maybe have to worry about that a little bit on this, but I generally don't worry about that too much. All right, so now let's go ahead and get the case onto the iPhone itself. So what you have to do is you take out the plastic inner shell right there. Go ahead and place that into and around the iPhone. And then the outer shell just kind of snaps into place very easily. And there you go. Very nice and simple to get the case on, and a ton of protection coming from this. So it's not actually super thick now that I'm kind of feeling it. The multi-layer doesn't add too much, it does give a ton of grip, but this phone is going to be really good if you work on job sites or anything like that. Being able to protect your phone while dropping it from any certain height or onto concrete or any type of surface that you're working on, it's going to be great for those types of people, or just anybody looking for a highly protective case. This one is going to be a great option for you. Alrighty, so let's take a look at the outside. Obviously, you can see that double wall protection there over the camera plateau. No protection over that, but let's go ahead and move that to the side to kind of zoom in on how much protection you're getting, and that's actually a very generous amount. So any type of fault like that, you're going to be getting full protection there, and being able to protect your camera lenses is super important because those are very expensive to replace. But if you wanted to go ahead and get any sort of after cover for your camera plateau, you can go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and flip to the front, do a little pull test. You do get a decent amount of pull over there, and you do get not a whole lot over on the power button, A little bit over by where the camera control button is. It's really just this little flimsy part over there that moves. Nothing on the bottom and really nothing on the top, because that outer shell really protects it and keeps all that from pulling. But where there is any of that rubber on the insides is where you're going to get a little bit of pulling. And then another thing to note, you do get a little cutout on the top for the speaker grill up there. Now let's go into the buttons. Very nice and clicky. Very nice and clicky there. So really nice buttons, really nice inlaid buttons. They don't move at all, so they're not like wobbling around. They got a really nice fit there, so big plus on that. Now no camera control button, but let's go ahead and just kind of see the ease of use. Now it is kind of inlaid a good amount, but they did make it kind of easy to get your finger in there, but it is also just not a camera control button. I'm not really sure why you wouldn't put that on this case, just seeing as that, you know, the camera control button came out last year, so they've had quite a bit of time to put a camera control button onto all their cases. But if you're looking for something that doesn't have this, that is super protective, this is definitely going to be a really good case. And you can see that it is inlaid pretty well right there. So getting your finger in isn't hard, but there is still a bit of a gap because of the plastic to get your finger fully in there. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the bottom of the case. Full speaker grill cutout, so you're going to get full sound, which is excellent. And then your really nice USB-C port to be able to fit any of your USB-C heads into that in case you have a bigger one or one that's putting more power into your phone quicker. So really nice to see there, big fan. And then we've got our MagSafe ring, so let's go ahead and test that onto the case. Snaps right on there, really nice and easy. Let's go ahead and do a test, bounce test. That came off fairly simple. Let's do that again. So not really the strongest MagSafe. So that's probably because you have the outer ring of the plastic with the inner ring of the rubber there. So a little bit less MagSafe protection in terms of dropping. I mean, it does snap on there pretty nicely. And then, I mean, it does take a little bit of force to pull off, but it's not, you know, the strongest one. So maybe not the best for MagSafe or holding a wallet onto your phone, but it's going to work perfectly fine for having this on your bedstand or anything like that and just charging it overnight. And again, here is the forest green. If you did want to pick that up, one of the nice things about this is that it does have kind of accented black buttons on each side. So that's a really nice touch and kind of changes up the coloring. So if you like that, make sure to comment down below which one of these is your favorite color. If you want me to send this to you, I will pick a winner once this video hits 1,000 views. So what am I going to give the Crave case? So one thing to note is just, you know, the being able to get it on, it takes 2 parts. You might be able to put this case on without taking it apart, but just for ease of use, you do have to take it apart for that inner rubber and then outer shell part. You do get a ton of drop protection with that, which is fantastic, but just something that maybe is going to irk people. But I mean, I guess you only have to do it once if you're just putting it on your phone, unlike me who tests phone cases all the time. So one more step is a little bit of trouble. Do really love that they did inlaid buttons. Definitely points off for not having the camera control button, but then also points for the bottom of the grill. So all in all, I think the little things of the camera control and just the 2 pieces, you can kind of get over. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. On the happiness scale, I'm going to call it a soft 4 out of that, meaning it's going to lean more towards the 3.5 out of 4, but I'm going to give it a 4. I think it deserves it, especially with the price and how much drop protection this does give you. And then in terms of pricing, this does retail on Amazon for $19.99, so very, very accessible for pretty much anyone looking for a really good case at a fairly cheap price that is going to be very protective. So I will have links down below and any discount codes that I have down there as well, or on the screen right here, so you guys can go ahead and plug that in. That does go ahead and help the channel. But thank you so much to Crave for sending me over this case. I really enjoy testing out all of your guys' different cases. This one is called the Dual Guard. If I didn't mention that before, I apologize if that's what you guys are going to be looking for. But the Crave Dual Guard case for the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and it does come in any of the other iPhones as well. So you guys won't be able to miss out if you didn't get a Pro Max or anything like that. And then multiple different colors to be able to match with whatever iPhone you got. So again, thank you so much for sending this over. Really enjoy this. Again, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what your favorite of these two case colors is, and I'll go ahead and pick a winner. Thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.